5th grade. Today we're going to be doing Module 4, Lesson 9, and for this lesson we're going to be focusing on measurements. Some of you have been asking me, well, Mrs. Amira, when are we going to be using multiplying fractions in real life? And this is going to be a great example of how we actually can use multiplying fractions in our regular lives. So we're going to be learning about measurements a little bit for this lesson, and we're going to be doing something called converting units. So what I'm starting with in this very first problem is I have 1/4 pound of something. So normally we weigh our bodies in pounds, or maybe we weigh like different ingredients while we're cooking in pounds. But what happens if I want to know what this 1/4 pounds equals in ounces? And we abbreviate pounds and ounces using these letters. The pounds is normally spelled P-O-U-N-D-S. And then ounces is spelled O-U-N-C-S, like this. So we have pounds and we have ounces on this side. And what we're going to be doing first is I need to think about, well, how many ounces are in a pound? I need to know this before I can start. Well, once we start getting really good at remembering our conversions, we'll remember that 1 pound equals 16, sorry, can you see that? 16 ounces. And this is going to be really important for when I start this multiplication, because right now I can't just change pounds into ounces. I have to do a little bit of math to figure out what that actually equals. And to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1/4 times 16. And the reason why I'm multiplying this by 16 is that I need to convert from pounds to ounces. And I do that by understanding what one of these units is equal to and one of these units. So 1 pound is equal to 16 units, or 16 ounces. So that's why I'm multiplying this by 16. Then what I need to do is I need to multiply, just like we've been doing so far. So we have 1/4 times 16. Remember, this whole number 16 has an invisible number 1 underneath it. So we're going to take this 1/4 times 16 over 1. So we're going to do 1 times 16, which gives me 16. And then we're going to do 4 times 1, which gives me 4. Then I am left with 16 over 4. And remember, I can think of this as a division problem, like 16 divided by 4. And hopefully we're good at our division facts. And we know that 16 divided by 4 equals 4. You could also set up a standard algorithm or do some other methods to help you out with this, but eventually our final answer is 4. And what this tells me is that in a 1/4 pound, or 1/4 of a pound, that also equals 4 ounces. So whichever way I say it, it's the same amount, but it has the same mass. If you remember that from science, it has the same mass, but it's just different units. So let's try this again with another problem real fast. We're going to erase this, and you should also have like a little conversion sheet so you can see what all the different conversions are. So we have 3/4 feet equals blank inches. So my first step before I get started is I need to figure out, if I'm going from feet to inches, how many inches are in one whole unit. So how many inches are in 1 foot? Well, in 1 foot, there are 12 inches. So 1 foot and 12 inches are the same exact measurements. So that means, and you can even write this down if you want, 1 foot equals 12 inches. So I found out what one part of these is equal to in inches. And then I'm going to take my 3/4 and I'm going to multiply it by this 12 over here. And then once I figure this all out, I'll be able to figure out how many inches I then have. And if you know anything about feet and inches, you know that our inches is going to look bigger. It's going to look like a larger number than our feet. So we can expect that when we finish solving this. Remember, this 12 technically has an invisible number 1 underneath it. So we're going to do 2 different ways to solve this problem. First, we're just going to do it the basic multiplication way. So we have 3 times 12. That gives me 36, and then 4 times 1 gives me 4. Then we're going to think of this as a division problem. So we have 36 divided by 4, and 36 divided by 4 gives me 9. So that lets me know that 3/4 of a foot is equal to 9 inches. Now another way that you could solve this 3/4 times 12 is you can use that Mrs. O'Meara way. So you can think of, well, what's 12 divided by 4? Remember, you take the whole number, divided by the denominator. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And then we take this answer and we multiply it by the numerator. And 3 times 3 gives me 9 as well. So this lets me know that 3/4 of a foot also equals 9 inches. And a reason why we might want to change 3/4 of a foot into 9 inches is because, let's say you're measuring something. If I told you measure up to 3/4 of a foot, you might look at me and you might be a little bit puzzled and not sure how to do that. But if I said measure 9 inches, you might have an easier time of doing that because it's a mark that you could actually see on your ruler or measuring tape. So that's sometimes why we like to convert things so that they're a little bit easier to work with. We're going to work on our last problem together, and with this last problem we're taking years into months. So we still have this 3/4, and we're going to find 3/4 of a year equals how many months. And just like our previous problems, we're going to think first, if I have 1 year, how many months does that equal to? So we take one part of this unit, and how many does that equal of this unit? So we have 1 year equals how many months? Well, I know that 1 year equals 12 months. So what this tells me is that I am going to be multiplying 3/4 times 12. This might be looking a little bit similar to our last problem then. So we have 3/4 times 12. And again, any method you want to choose to solve this problem. I'm just going to use the Mrs. O'Meara's method. So we're going to do 12 divided by 4. And that gives me 3. And then I'm going to take my answer times my numerator, and that gives me 9. So what this tells me is that 3/4 of a year equals 9 months. And again, this is one of those examples where if I asked you, you have to wait 3/4 of a year until you get this prize or present, you might be a little bit confused. You're like, 3/4 of a year, how long is that? But if I said you have to wait 9 months to get something, then that probably makes a lot more sense to you. So again, we convert so that maybe our numbers make more sense to us, or so that it's easier for us to use them. Like I said, you're going to have a little conversion chart to help you out. So when you move on to your problem set and you try problem, you can use that conversion chart to help you out. Real quick, I am going to read your you try problem. It is on the back. It is a word problem, but if you look at this problem carefully, it should be able to help you solve this one right here. So it says, Mr. Corsetti spends 2/3 of every year in Florida. How many months does he spend in Florida each year? So this problem basically looks like 2/3 of a year equals how many months? And you just need to follow basically what we did up here to then help you out with solving this. But if you need any help, please let me know, and then once you are done with the you try problem, you'll move on to the problem set. Good job today, 5th grade, and good luck.